Alright, so a lot of things have happened since the last video. My AirPods died, that was a bit rough. We are recharged and we are starting again. We had, in the previous version of this, I played around with the code a little bit too. We were just launching the craft by giving initial velocity, so kind of like a slingshot from the surface of the Earth or just outside it. And that's not really how we would typically launch a craft. We might turn on rocket thrusters for a time, start with an initial velocity of 0 very close to the surface of the Earth, and then after some time turn off those rocket thrusters. So I want to try that. This is a little bit untested. I've played with it a bit. I'm going to set the velocity to 0, so the craft starts with no initial velocity. And I'm going to locate it much closer to the surface of the Earth, so 0.01. I don't want to do right at the surface of the Earth because I'm afraid that's going to mess with my crash condition, which might cause problems anyways, but we'll start with that. And then I needed to add a new force for the thrust from the thrusters. I don't want them to always be on, so I'm going to set a conditional statement. I'm going to say if the time is less than whatever time I've chosen to turn the rockets off, I'm going to call it T-rockets off, that's just my own name for that, then do this. F thrust is equal to, let's say, some magnitude, thrust mag. I need it to be a vector. It has to have a direction, and the direction being the velocity of the craft. So norm v craft. Okay, so some magnitude in the direction of the velocity. Else, meaning if that's not true, I think this needs to go back here, then do this other stuff. So if t is less than t rocket, do that. If it's not, if else, then let's let the thrust be 0. That has to be a 0 vector, 0, 0, 0. I'll turn it off. Now I need to add that force to the net force, or else it won't do anything. So we'll add it right there. Okay. We have a couple things that are undefined. Thrust mag does not exist anywhere in the code, and oh, T rockets off, the time to turn the rockets off. So I'll have to specify those outside the loop. Thrust mag, the size of the thrust force, I'm going to call it 14,000 newtons, I think, is a pretty reasonable value. So set the thrust force. You can adjust this, of course. And then T rockets off. Looking at the spelling down there. It needs to be specified in seconds. I'm going to do 12 minutes in seconds here, so 60 times 12. Set the time at which the rockets turn off. Alright, I am noticing that if the rockets are only on for, 720 seconds, then our time step here seems a little big. 100 seconds is fairly large on that scale. We really want our time step to be negligible compared to the rate at which the forces are changing as we move away from the Earth and so on. So I'm going to try 10 seconds and we'll see how that works. Not sure what's going to come of this. Okay, what is happening? Do we have, there's the craft on the surface of the Earth, right at the North Pole. Nothing has happened. It has not launched. Ah! Okay. The velocity vector was a 0 vector. That was the initial velocity. So then when I set the thrust magnitude in the direction of the velocity, there is none. It's a 0 direction. So I'm going to launch it upwards by giving it a little piece in the y dimension to the motion. There we go. We launched up. We fell right back down. That was so fast I could hardly see it. I could slow this down so it does 10 times the number of calculations. I could also change the rate, which is just the rate at which it is allowed to do the computations. Let me try that first change to begin with. Okay, that is ridiculously cute. We launched from the North Pole, and we landed. We were attracted by the Earth's gravitational force, and we landed somewhere down here in, looks like right in the middle of Asia. Very fun. Okay, I'm going to try turning off this crash condition. I can do that just by commenting it out, just because I'm curious to see what will happen. The craft launches, it returns, it goes into the Earth, is pulled around the core of the Earth by very large forces, in which case the 1 second time step may actually be a little too small, which is how we're getting some extra velocity, which is not physical here, and doing larger and larger motions. Alright, so we definitely should include that crash condition again. Let's try turning on the thrusters just a little bit longer. I am just having fun here. This is true. And now we may have achieved escape velocity from the surface of the Earth. I'm not quite certain. I noticed that when we launched, we didn't go straight up and fall back down, which you might expect from the symmetry of the situation. And I think it's because we do have the moon out there. And the forces from the moon, even as tiny as they were just large enough to tilt the trajectory of the rocket in the moonward direction for just a little bit. If I want to know whether that's actually the case, I could take out the force from the moon from this just to see how it behaves. And yeah, we've broken that symmetry now, we've reestablished that symmetry, so it just launches straight up from the surface of the Earth. It was actually, I'll do Control Z here to put it back in, I guess I just have to type it back in, fgrav moon. So it was the reason that the craft was pulled slightly to the right in the simulation and landed. Okay, so lots of fun you can have with this, plenty of things you can do. I will stop talking for now and let you all get around to playing with your code.